This is BSS Sports.
Fires to the end zone. It's caught. It's Greg Lewis. Touchdown.
Brooks with one. Lets it fly at the horn. It's gone.
Here's Crosby with a burst of speed up the middle. Gets open. Scores.
A grand slam for A-Rod.
Pure genius from David Beckham.
And it's in. Thierry Henry with a bullet. Touchdown.
With Thomas Brooks, Steve Schill, and Trevor Struthers. Only on 91X.
Good afternoon. It's another episode of BSS Sports. My name is Steven Schill. The guy over there is Trevor Struthers. And the Blue Jays decided to do what the fans wanted. They kept Aaron Sanchez in the lineup, and things didn't go too hot for him. He went 6 innings, gave up 4 runs in the 4-2 loss against the Royals on a Saturday. And then yesterday, they got thumped by the Royals again, but this time it wasn't Aaron Sanchez's fault. However, Trevor, what do you think of this whole Aaron Sanchez thing? Are you glad they kept him away from the bullpen? And, well, honestly, it wasn't too bad of a start either, but the bats weren't really happening.
Yeah, well, the bats on the entire road trip just weren't never really there. I mean, I don't think they had a multiple RBI hit in the entire road trip, and there were a lot of solo home runs that were hit. So, yeah, the offense was one thing. But about Aaron Sanchez, I've been talking about it for a long time now. I'm a pretty firm believer that you should monitor his innings. And, I mean, the one thing that is interesting about this is you're not dealing with an absolute either way. You're not dealing with, it's like he absolutely, there's not an absolute shot that he will suffer an arm injury. Or if you keep him in the rotation, there's not an absolute shot that you win a championship, right? Either way, it works like that. So, I mean, he could get hurt if you just put him into the bullpen, even, because that hasn't been proven to be a successful thing. But, I mean, I do think you have to be a bit more, you have to pay attention to the amount of innings he's throwing, and I think they will. And I'd be surprised if eventually he's not in the bullpen. The key wording that Atkins did use was that for now he's going to remain in the rotation, and they're going to go with a 6-man rotation. It makes a lot of sense to maybe go with a 6-man rotation in September when you have rosters expanding, so they might do that then too. But, yeah, I mean, with Aaron Sanchez, I mean, you'd love to have him in the rotation with the way he's pitched clearly, but I mean, I want to think long term with Aaron Sanchez. With that being said, like I said, I mean, if you put him in the bullpen, there's no guarantee he won't get hurt, right? So that's the one thing I hate about talking about this is it's like what is the right decision? Really, you don't know. You're taking chances no matter what you do, whether it be winning this year or whether it be Aaron Sanchez getting hurt. Personally, I think you have to put the player's health a little bit over, trying to win a championship. I think that they can win a championship with Sanchez in the bullpen. I mean, a number 4 or 5 of Francisco Liriano and R.A. Dickey isn't that bad. There's not a lot of good 4 or 5s in baseball. I don't think there's really any, especially 5s when it comes to the rotation. So, yeah, with Aaron Sanchez, like I said, I really don't know. There is really no right answer, and only really time will tell with what they end up doing and how that's going to end up paying off. Maybe they win the World Series. Maybe Aaron Sanchez is gone for a couple of years. Maybe none of that happens due to like some sort of injury. So, yeah, I mean, only time can tell.
And last year, Trevor, me and you were at a Royals game here in Toronto. We all remember the big, huge freakout is the day right before David Price was supposed to pitch. We didn't know if he was going to pitch on the day that we went or the day after. We ended up getting R.A. Dickey and a huge brawl from the Royals. And Josh Donaldson gets smoked in the face this past weekend. Trevor, I know you're a Donaldson fan because you have the jersey. Were you a little shook up when you saw that?
I wasn't really shook up. I mean, the first, like whenever somebody gets hit by a pitch, even if it's his first at bat, I kind of don't think much into it. It all comes down to eventually later on in the game, they're still throwing up and in at him. And yeah, at some point there's a cause for concern. The interesting thing was yesterday with Yordano Ventura against Marcus Stroman, 2 young guys. Yordano Ventura has been in the middle of a lot of things with other teams when it comes to clearing benches and such. And Marcus Stroman has been suspended before for throwing at a guy when they had that incident with the Orioles. So I thought maybe something would have happened there with Yordano and Stroman pitching, in the same game. And Marcus Stroman at one point threw behind Eric Hosmer. Whether that was on purpose or not, you can never really judge intent. We can't get into the guy's head. I heard some that thought it was intentional. Personally, I didn't think it was intentional. And I think there were people that also shared that sentiment as well. So I thought maybe if we were going to see a continuation of that, it was going to happen yesterday, but nothing actually ended up materializing, and the Royals ended up beating the Blue Jays. The good thing about that, though, for the Blue Jays fans is that they may not have to worry because it looks like Kansas City is going to be in tough if they want to make the playoffs.
And going to the National League side of things for a quick moment, Miami Marlins outfielder. I don't even want to start it out like that. Miami Marlins. The legend Ichiro Suzuki gets his 3,000th hit. And this is the first time in 119 years. 119. Back in 1897 was the last time that somebody did that. And that player was named Cap Anson. I wish we could go back in the day when the names were actually cool, unlike today where they all make them up and they make literally no sense. Nonetheless, he's with the Marlins, gets the 3,000th hit, and it's kind of cool. He's 42, and for baseball, you don't really, I mean, kind of, you can see it with hitters and that kind of stuff for power when they're older, somewhat. David Ortiz, A-Rod, he's retiring now. Like, all these players, and we're finding Ortiz is leaving this year as well, are we at the pinnacle point right now where all of the people that me and you grew up with are leaving baseball?
I mean, I guess so. Obviously, as time goes on, that's going to happen. I mean, obviously, the staple I remember growing up from watching the Blue Jays was Roy Halladay. And obviously, he retired, 3 years ago or more. I mean, yeah, eventually things like, time moves on, and yeah, I mean, you're over 20 years old. I'm almost 20, right? And so that right there is the length of a career, right? 20 years. Yeah, we are starting to transition a bit, and the people that were born in the 90s are starting to feel a lot older. As you're seeing now, guys in the NHL, guys in the MLB, they're younger than us now, and guys coming into the league are younger than us, and that's it's interesting to think about. I mean, you've had a few more, and I'm not trying to get on you for how old you are. You're only a couple years older than I am, but it's amazing to kind of think about. And yeah, you've had a couple more years than I have to kind of take that in. But I mean, yeah, times are moving on, and eventually we're going to feel really old.
I already feel old after that one, so thanks, Trevor. Now, if you want to feel really old, decrepit, and hate your life for not becoming a professional baseball player, I'm about to do that. Alex Rodriguez, he's retiring. Okay, sure, forget the drug talk and everything else about possibly using steroids. Do you know how much he made per game?
I know it's a lot because I remember coming across a website that said it was a lot.
He made over $200,000 a game after he finished his initial season in the majors when he signed with the Rangers and then the Yankees. Each time he played a game, he made over $200,000. Do you know how ridiculous that is? How many things you could buy? How many the world could no longer be hungry, and this guy's sitting there just milking it all. I mean, how do you make that much money? $200,000 a game. He spends 3 hours of his time. Now, okay, mind you, there's traveling, everything else, but if you break it down per game, $200,000 a game. There's 168 games in a baseball season? That's a lot of money. Trevor, if you were to relive your life and go back to when you were 5, what would you go into doing?
I'd try to find a way to sign with the New York Yankees. That's what I'd try to do. But, yeah. I mean, really, that's a lot of where his money's come from, right? I mean, the Texas Rangers, they're no small market ball team either. But, I mean, the New York Yankees, I mean, you see the contracts they've handed out to guys. And now, I mean, another guy that's retiring, Mark Teixeira, got another crazy contract to leave the Atlanta Braves. So, yeah, I mean, they get these ridiculous contracts thrown at them. And, yeah, you throw stats like that out. Here's one thing. I'll be interested to see what David Price's, money per start would be, because he's playing, not every day like an Alex Rodriguez would. And he's got a bigger contract, I think, than A-Rod's. Because, yeah, I'm pretty sure Price is up there for, one of the biggest contracts of all time. So, yeah, I think it's a 7-year deal. Maybe it's an 8-year deal. But 7-8 years from now, we'll know what David Price made per start, and it's going to be something ridiculous.
It's just insane. Baseball players are insane, and we're insane for following them, but that's okay.
Let's
love of the game.
Change the wording of that. It's not the baseball players that are insane. I would sign each deal in a heartbeat. It's the management that's insane.
Very true.
And maybe even the league, because there is no hard salary cap, and maybe that's something they should think about implementing if they want to try to control the money in the game.
Another sport, and it's not as paying out to the players as baseball, but playing into the owner's pockets, the multi-million, and you could argue billion-dollar company, the NFL. Hall of Fame game, supposed to be a friendly, gets canceled. Trevor, do you know why this game got canceled? You make like a couple of $1 million, you have a great business, and then you hire some people to do the grass. And the people who do the grass, for some reason, have this issue where they don't really realize what they can use at this time of year. So they put on this paint at the center field and in the end zones. And I guess it hardens, and it basically means, with the stuff they use, that it created cement. So the grass field, in parts, turned into cement. So this billion-dollar company can't figure out how to put logos on grass, so they have to cancel the first game of the season. Do you know how stupid that is?
It sounds like they weren't really prepared for it. It's a unique scenario, though, because where do you really hear about something like this? So I think you got to give them this one kind of, give me. And then if something like this happens again within the next few years, then maybe you can be angry and angry at the league for this happening. But yeah, it's a unique thing, right? So it's not like it's something that they would have saw coming.
It's so stupid. So stupid. Anyway, moving on from the NFL, talking soccer real quickly, the FA Community Shield, which is essentially the previous year's Premier League winner and the FA Cup winner, face off. This year it was Manchester United versus Leicester City, and Manchester United's new Zlatan Ibrahimovic scores in the 83rd minute, letting Manchester United win 2-1. Being a Chelsea fan and hearing that Manchester United might also get Paul Pogba now, he's supposed to go in for a medical, it breaks my heart. It definitely breaks my heart. But now, the Olympics, the other thing that's known around the world, even though soccer is known around the world, but as Canadians, for some reason, especially you, Trevor, don't appreciate soccer. Why? I will never know. Nonetheless, Rio. Okay, we have one medal so far, which is good. The entire time coming up to the Rio Games, we've heard nothing about, oh my god, everything's going to go horrible. Living conditions are awful, this can't work, nothing's going on, people should drop out. And now the games have started, I haven't heard any news about anything going wrong. So was this all a kind of, hype to make people watch the Olympics? Do you think, was this staged?
A lot of the living conditions, I feel, were blown out of proportion. I was watching a show over the weekend, and at one point there was an interview with athletes, and the athletes, they seem to really enjoy where they're living, and that it wasn't that bad. And so maybe it's just unique scenarios, and it was kind of blown out of proportion. But this whole Zika virus, and now we're seeing it show up now in Florida, and how worried they are about the Zika virus. It's a real thing, and it's a little, it's something to be afraid of, especially if you plan on having children. So the Zika virus thing I can understand, and about not hearing any of it since the weekend, pretty much. Well, now that the Olympics are going, who wants to talk about it now, right? Right now we're focused about everything that's going on in the Olympics. You have all the reporters down there, and now they're worried about, focusing on what they have to cover for the games. And so I don't know if we're going to hear about, apart from the protests, I don't think we're going to hear about anything non-Olympic throughout these Olympics. Now it's all focused on the sports and enjoying the sports for what they are, which is fantastic.
Now, what I should mention with that is where I said Canada has one medal. Usually we record the show pre-air because we're generally busy on this time around Monday. So this was yesterday. You could be hearing this right now, and Canada could have 37 medals, and we would be completely lying. So just want to throw that out there. But Trevor, we were talking earlier about Canada's women's soccer team doing great, and as well the rugby sevens are moving on up.
Yeah, the women's rugby sevens are into the semifinal. We'll play Australia. And, for the women's soccer, 2-0 so far. And big game coming up tomorrow. They're going to play Germany in the afternoon, I believe. I don't know the official time. I think it's 2 o'clock. But Germany's second ranked in the world or something like that, and I'm pretty sure, not certain, pretty sure that they lost to the U.S. in the gold medal game in 2010 at the Olympics. So it's a tough task for Canada. They can afford to lose the game and still do well. Obviously, trying to at least continue what they did in 2010 when they won bronze in London for Canada. So yeah, they can go in there and afford to lose, but it'll be interesting to see how they do. They had a big win over Australia last week. Canada coming into this tournament, or coming into the Olympics, ranked 10th in the world, and Australia was 5. So that was a big win for them over Australia. 2-0 win. They scored 20 seconds into the game. The game was crazy. Got a red card about 20 minutes in. I think both were Olympic records. So good start for Canada. But yeah, that game against Germany is going to be a big one like I said, they can afford to lose it. But man, if they win that game, it'll be interesting to see how they go from there.
Final question for you, Trevor. Do you think that it is possible for the USA men's basketball team to lose the game?
I don't think so. I mean, it's just so stacked. I would hope that if Canada was in the tournament, that they would have maybe given the Americans a run. But I mean, who really knows? And unfortunately, we won't know. Thanks to that, loss against Venezuela 2 years ago and France earlier this year. So, that loss to Venezuela last year and the loss to France earlier this year. But so I mean, is there a team more stacked? That's the question I'm going to ask you, because I mean, I really don't think that there is a team more stacked. And I mean, you got 2 Raptors on that team, so there's definitely some intrigue for Raptors fans to be watching the U.S. Men's basketball team. But I mean, I just don't see they don't even have the best players. There's a lot of great players from the States that are playing, but they don't necessarily have all of the best players playing for them, and they're still probably going to run through this tournament.
See, this is kind of the thing where, basketball is a North American sport, where soccer is more of a European sport, so when Canada goes to play soccer, we get smoked. When Europe comes here to play basketball, we kill them. However, the women's Canada soccer team are the oddballs out of there. They're probably half European or something along those lines. That's it for this episode of BSS Sports. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and if you want to hear our archives, you can check us out on YouTube at BSS Productions. For Trevor Struthers and myself, Steven Schill, you're listening to 91X. We'll catch you next Monday.